Hello viewers, this is another edition of One-on-One with OtunbaHOO. With me in the studio today is Prince Adebisi Olukoga, a socialite and profession is banker. He's also one of the Nigerians that has so much passion for Nigerian development. He wants all the good things, and I can understand where he's coming from, because anybody with children that knows that when he goes or when we go, our children will be there. It is then become very imperative that we do everything possible to make sure that the country is properly structured. All the necessary things put in place to make sure that our children do not suffer so much. Couple of things I'll be discussing with my guest, and I'll be asking him also a couple of questions. So, Mr. Olukoga, or Prince Olukoga, you're welcome to One-on-One with OtunbaHOO. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Prince Adebisi Olukoga. I'm from Ikorodu in Lagos State, and presently I reside in United Kingdom. I'm a qualified banker. I did banking, and that is my profession. And I'm one of the Nigerian Yoruba leaders in UK.
When you say Yoruba leaders in the UK, are you talking of Afenifere renewed, or what does that mean when you say?
There's Yoruba organization we call Yoruba Council of Elders in UK. I'm a member of that organization. That's.
Are you also connected to Afenifere? Is it?
And I think there are two types of Afenifere back home in Nigeria. That's the original one that started when Shifa Obafemawolo and others were alive, and then there's another one, Afenifere Renewal Group, which is under another set of Yoruba leaders. So I don't belong to any of them, but I have sympathy to be with the renewal group, because the leader here is a friend of mine, and many times he has urged me to team up with them, but time doesn't permit.
Do you also know about the Odua group? Is anything like that?
I hear about it. Odua group. Those that I can recollect is in Nigeria, led by that guy. What's his name? Back home in Nigeria. Because I don't belong to any of them anyway, but I know I know they exist.
Okay. Prince Olukoga, as we speak, there's so many things going on in Nigeria, especially in the governance of Nigeria, in the government, and also Nigeria having to deal with so many issues. Some of them they are nothing to do with them, because an average Nigerian just want to see that government is running good, that everything is okay, and they're not asking for more than basic things of life. and they want to wait for every 4 years to use their electoral votes to determine whether the government should stay or the government should go. But what is important to an average Nigerian again is that there's all basic things of life. All these basic things of life would be for, good roads, education, housing, health, and most importantly also employment, that at least they can feed their family and so on and so forth. But when you look at so many problems, and the last 57 years, governments, they have been governments of their own. They have not been into attending to problems of the people, and that has been a big issue. Now, recently, there is this issue of one minister of state having problem with another member that's supposed to be working in tandem with him, but is a GMD of the National Petroleum of Nigeria, the main source of where we make money. But then the worrying aspect of it is all Nigerians know that the number one person, the secretary, supposedly to be the president in charge of the whole organization. Now, there was a memo that was leaked where the Minister of State is complaining about insubordination, is complaining about certain things has been doing, certain rules, regulations have not been adhered to. The general group manager or whatever has not been working according to the laid down rules. What's your take? What do you think? What do you think is going on?
You see, it's rather unfortunate that that issue arises, and it's because of the bad foundation laid down for it. In the first instance, in that organization, the president, that's my own thinking, and which I think the thinking of majority of Nigerians, should not hold on to that position as the Minister for Petroleum. That department should be headed by somebody outside. He wanted to copy the first president, Chief Obasanjo, by holding on to that office. If you see the link between two of them, they were former military head of states, where nobody can dictate to them what to say or what to do. They do what they want to do, which is very, very wrong in a democratic system. You can't do that. Now, you can see the result of holding up to that office. The GMP, or what is that position?
Yeah.
The group managing director has to have a link direct to the minister in charge of that organization. And who is the minister? The president. Now, unfortunately, there's another minister in between, which should be acting where the president who is holding on to that office is not available. I should believe this thing happens when he was sick somehow. Now, because the act that established that organization does not give the right permission for the Minister of State in that department. So it's either he link up with the president, who is the minister, or the vice president. When the president was off sick, he delegated all his rights through the National Assembly, writing to them, is now going to act on my behalf. So if the GMD form a link through that side, bypassing the Minister of State, he won't be blamed too much for it.
He cannot be blamed.
But at the same time, the Minister of State is the chairman of the committee. And he complained that even though when they call a meeting, when he's supposed to be there, sometimes he doesn't go. He delegates somebody to represent him. Well, I think with that, the GMD is from the north, I believe. It's a northerner. Now, I hope they will not link that to tribal sentiment. I hope it will lead to that. Because Kachiku is from southeast. And now, unfortunately, the southeast, the youth there are having problem by saying they are being marginalized. Now, I hope it will not develop to the area those people will be pointing to that accusing finger. You see now what is happening? That's one of what we are saying, even though they are wrong.
Yeah, it will be very sad to, and we are so good at linking all our deficiencies, our problem of not getting things right or properly done. We are good at putting colors. We either link it with our religion, or we link it with our tribe, or we link it with our personality and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, and I think that is very sad. Well, moving on. You will agree with me that also there is a national, I'll call it a national thing, where all the zones, for one, is very, I think one or two of the zones are not complaining, but other zones are now saying we are being marginalized. We are being marginalized in all area, beach, but the major complaint of marginalization is our zone is not developed. Our area has been marginalized. There are many abandoned projects in our area, and it's gotten to a point that part of the country are even making provision to wanting to secede. They want to even go away. But the question is, don't you think the lack of development is something completely nothing to do with marginalization, or do you think it's something to do with marginalization? What's your take on this? Do you think we should restructure at all in the first place?
First of all, let me say this. This issue, it's a pity it came up this time. Marginalization or no marginalization it affects everywhere in Nigeria, all the zones. The problem is not now. We've been hearing it all along that I know some of the northern leaders who have been saying they will continue to rule from the north to the Atlantic. That means from the north to all parts of Nigeria, especially Lagos. They are the master of everybody. It's a good thing this idea is coming out. Now they will put everybody in place. You belong to where you belong to. But as for marginalization, it's everywhere. The southeast, the south-south, the northeast, the southwest, all the 6 geographical zones of in Nigeria, they are there. I think it's an issue that should be dealt with in all seriousness, because all these zones have representatives at the National Assembly. All these zones have governors. They have House of Assembly members in their areas. There must be some fund being located to each of these areas. It depends on the governance of those zones, how they spend their money, how they use it to develop. But if they are referring to the federal government activities in each area, I think, even though the south, southeast, they benefited more in that. Look at the River Niger. After all, it's in the southeast, stroke south. The federal government is doing that. And there are some other roads, according to their statistics, which they have done. To develop a state or a zone, as I see it, it belongs to the governor, the government in that state or in that zones to do what is right for them. There was this accusation in the problem that is going on, whereby the Southeast youth were saying they are being marginalized. There is no airport, there is no seaport, they did not develop it. I think we should all remember when Sarowiwa, why he was killed. This was somebody who was agitating for development in its area. He knows, he has all the statistics and the figure and the picture of what is happening, because the federal government allocated funds in that area, and the leaders in that area never relinquished the money to do what is needed. They put the money into their pocket, and the youth rise up against them. They know who did it, but they pick Sarowiwa and his group, thinking that they are the one who mastermind that uprising. And that was why he was killed. Instead of investigating what led to that, I'm just trying to use that as an example to see that the federal government will never neglect any area that needs to be developed. They try to make, because that is the area we are having our financial dependency, the oil, it comes there. Definitely. There are companies that were extracting oil there, which they have to make sure the area is conducive for the people, especially they are mostly fishermen and farmers. Whatever the crude oil they were exploring from that area definitely has killed off everything. The government and those companies, the money voted for development and clearing all the rubbish there, they never get to the ordinary people. And that was what led to Sarowiwa and his groups to be wiped out, because they know government put money there, but there were some chiefs and some politicians that put the money into their pocket.
So nothing happened.
Nothing happens.
Right.
And the same thing is still happening. That's why this youth being led by Kanu were rising up.
Right.
So marginalization is everywhere.
It's everywhere. I'm happy you repeat that. Now, when you say marginalization is everywhere, from your introduction, you said you are from Ikorodu. Ikorodu is in Lagos State.
Sure.
Let's use this opportunity to ask, how is marginalization affecting your area of Southwest? How will you say marginalization is affecting Southwest?
Okay. I give you one example. Chief Obafemi Awolowo became the premier of Western Region in 1952 or so.
Yeah, about that.
Because I started primary school in 52.
Okay.
And our parents pay how much? 5 shillings per term. Some parents cannot afford that 5 shillings. But with the introduction of free education, everything went well. Now, the roads that government, the Western Region government, third from my Ikorodu, I will give that as an example, to Ishagamu, which is just 22 miles away, up to Ikene, Ijebu-Ode.
Yeah.
Those roads are still there, untarred. Even to repair it.
Or what?
I'm telling you this. If you travel from Ikorodu to Ishagamu,
the old roads are still there.
The old road. That's the only road that leads Ikorodu to Ishagamu, unless you want to go through express road to get to Ishagamu, which is
why is that? I mean,
because the road, even the road supposed to be repaired and tarred, it's still there. If you travel from Ikorodu to Ishagamu, you have to. If you don't go to a mechanic with your vehicle, you must have got a mechanic in your car when you are going, because
so you mean the road is so bad.
The road is so bad.
But what's that got to do with marginalization of Southwest?
That's federal road. It's not the state road, because that's the difference from this country and our country. You will never know which is federal road or local council road. It shouldn't be our necessity to know who has this road.
Nothing to do with the people.
No, it's people are not concerned. They just want to see good road. Whether the federal government did it or the local government did it, it's not our problem. It's their problem. But now, we knew those roads belongs to the federal government to repair, to tar, to take care of. It never done. So and there are some roads. When somebody from my state was the minister for works, is challenging the state government for taking toll on those roads, which is very wrong.
Well, according to you now, some of the marginalization we're talking about include bad roads.
Bad roads?
The roads are supposed to have been immediate
repaired and maintained
by the local government or by the state government, are now being abandoned or are not been attended to because it's it's said to be a federal road. So all these are little things you think.
Yes, and furthermore, there are some roads within the state which belongs to the local government to take care of. I give you the example of Lagos State. Lagos State have, since the creation of Lagos State, it's been 20 local governments. I don't want to make comparison with
that's others. What the Constitution recommends.
That's what the Constitution recommends.
Each state should have minimum of 20 local governments.
Okay. Now, I don't want to digress from what I wanted to say, but you saying that now, Lagos State has been 20 local governments.
Like any other state?
Like any other state. Kano State, from out of it now, we are almost the same as regard local government creation. Some states have been carved out of Kano State, and yet we still remain as we are. when you carve out from a state, another state, you create a local government for them.
Yes, you create another 20 local government.
Another 20.
Yeah.
Now, the marginalization is this, which is not the federal government issue. Now, that's where I'm going. Because Lagos State created another 37, making it 57, the development councils, they still received the same allocation for the 20 local governments created for them, and this is the money being used by the 57. Yeah, so it gives the local government a hardship task to develop even their road. But
Prince, the 37 is not constitutional band. Arrangement. It is arrangement of the state that believes
they can create it.
They want to spread development to nook and cranny of their state, and thereby they. Yeah, but we will have to go on a short break now. When we come back, we will continue with the discussion. Okay. Do not go away.
Christ Living Spring Apostolic Ministry, CLAM, Prayer Academy, United Kingdom, presents Great Apostolic Power and Grace for the Next Level. It's a night of healing, salvation, deliverance, and restoration. Venue is the Harrow Leisure Center, Christchurch Avenue, Harrow, HA3, 5BD, London. Date is the 20th of October, 2017. Time 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Doors open at 8 p.m. For further inquiries, please call +44795 199 8557 +44750 865 7726 +234 816 018 9672 8033 033 214, or visit our website on www.clamgo.org. Host Pastor Wale Oladiru and other anointed men of God. Come and be blessed. Jesus Christ is Lord.
Heritage Television, promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television, we cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
Welcome back to One-on-One with OtunbaHOO.
Prince.
My guest today is Prince Adebisi Olukoga. He's a banker. He's a resident of this country. He's been around for many years. He's I don't know whether he's a full-time politician, shall I call him, or it looks like politics has been in the family. While I was talking with him before we come on this program, he told me the role his late father played in the politics of Western region, and he also took time to get involved in the local government politics of Ikorodu. He's from Ikorodu. Now, before we went on break, we are talking about these issue of marginalization, issue of restructuring, and I also asked you which part exactly do you want to say Southwest, and Ikorodu in particular as one of the cities in Southwest is marginalized. And you are talking about roads, roads that are supposedly to be under local government, as it is in civilized countries.
Yes.
And even if the road is a federal whatever road, you never know, because as far as an ordinary man is concerned, he just drives his car,
they want to see good road.
Take a walk, ride his bike or whatever on good roads. But it looks like we are not used to good roads. What exactly? What is responsible for us not having good things or good roads in?
Thank you. That's the area.
What exactly is the problem? Why are we having so many abandoned properties?
That's the area I was trying to elaborate on. You see, I use the creation of more local government for the developmental activities, which wasn't the case in Lagos State. The Lagos State government under Senator Ahmed Tinubu did all that is necessary according to the constitution before you can create more local governments by carrying out a referendum by the state, and then pass whatever the result is. Either if it is no, then you drop it. If it is yes, you carry on. The next stage will be for the House of Assembly to give an approval, and then according to the constitution, this has to be cleared by the National Assembly. You can remember during his first term he did those things. That idea is still on the table, undiscussed, untouched by the National Assembly. After him, we've got Fashola, spent another 8 years, and this is the Ambody there now. It's still the same. So the marginalization I'm referring to here, the money, they agree you can create whatever you like, but because it's not been approved by the National Assembly, there won't be any allocation for those new councils that have been created. Development, yes. Now, the only money that is being allocated to them from the purse of the federal government is for the 20 local government. It is that little money. They might get their own internally generated revenue to boost whatever they have, they get from the government. It is the allocation for the 20 that the 57 are sharing.
Well, let me say
what
this.
stopped the National Assembly from approving after they have followed the laid down guidelines and rules in the constitution? Why? What is stopping them?
Well, I wouldn't, but I also want to ask you, because someone said to me 9 out of 10 times Nigerians are people who never complain about anything. The question is, if it was the idea, it was the understanding of the first civilian governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, that says, you know what, I look at the geographical setting of Lagos State, and I can see that development will not reach all the areas without making creating additional development areas.
Yes.
Hence, he went ahead and came up with another 37.
Yeah.
So, but then, as you argue now, the constitution only provides for 20. All states, only 20 local governments. Maybe the finder, the people that wrote the constitution, they don't have foresight. They did not make it. They should have probably said, well, if in case each state now, because they are not the same in sizes.
Yeah.
If you look at the size of Kano State, you look at the size of Gongola State or all that kind of Yobe, they might even be very big, but does not need anything more than 10, 20 or whatever. But the question here is this: do you know at any time whether state like Lagos State make representation to National Assembly and say, you know what, this is the problem we are having. 20 local government is not enough for us to develop the state, because this is the size of the state, this is the size of the population, and so on and so forth. You see, because I don't want us to start blaming
federal government.
The federal government
not
approving or not coming up.
Coming
it's you being the governor that's supposed to forward or make representation to National Assembly, say, you know, state like ours, we will need another 40 local government. Do you know whether Lagos State did that?
I think they did that.
You think? You're not sure?
Well,
because you are not going.
No, because yes, I'm not involved in running the affairs of the.
So how are we
now,
sure?
Constitution is there to guide them. If it is not there,
no, that's not. What we're saying
look at the population.
There is already Constitution already is clear on 20 local government power.
Okay, now you tell me, Lagos State and Kano State. I'm not talking of size. When we talk of size, geographical size, Lagos State is the smallest. But when it comes to population, Lagos State and Kano State are running pari passu. Now you want to tell me that is why Kano State should be created, another state should be created out of it, and then so that their local government now will increase?
Yeah.
Now Lagos State, with the small size and has the most populated state in Nigeria, now we want it to remain 20, and that was why Obasanjo that time stopped the allocation meant for them without releasing any money. But because of their internal generated funds, they were able to manage and get through until Yar'Adua came there and released all those money that were due for them that time. You could see that. No, the marginalization we are referring to, that is one of it. You don't have to. No, although the court, when they pressed on further and they went to court, the court said that creation is inchoate. Inchoate means it's not complete. And where should it be completed? At the National Assembly. It's been forwarded to them. Why do they leave it? Why do they put it aside since that time?
Well, again,
without giving any reason. No reason was given.
That might be very difficult for me to answer reasons why.
I just use that as
I understand
one
why
sake of the marginalization.
Refused to approve or refused to agree to further creation of more local government. But my argument, or my thinking, or what I'm trying to find out from you is probably we are not making enough noise about problems we are facing us. A lot of people will keep saying we don't have light, but we are not talking. Yeah, we do talk about, but we do not hold people who are supposed to give us light. We hardly hold them accountable. We hardly hold them responsible. Say, you know what? There must be light. We cannot afford to be staying in darkness. Well, let me move on, brotherly, and probably.
There are so many things.
Yes.
In that marginalization, there are so many things. The people agitating in the southeast, they refer to unemployment, no good road, no electricity. They abandon us. They even went as far as to say, in the ministerial appointment, in running the affairs of the country. That's another area of marginalization they were referring to. But they forget that during the last government, Yorubas were marginalized in that area. We didn't raise any eyebrow about it. We make noise, we talk, we only talk about it. We didn't make any force to say, because of that, you have done this to us. I think we have to pull out. We don't belong to this region anymore.
Again, it's an area, it's a contagious area that, because
Yes.
as you speak now, there is also agitation from most of the major regions. If I want to use region as a parameter,
Or geographical zone,
would be
the
like
zone.
divided
Yeah.
as, you know, we have zones now.
Yeah.
But the zones were created, carved out from these regions.
Yes.
You know, the only region that has only 5 instead of 6 is Southeast.
Yes.
But then again, that's another discussion for another day. Why they're not? But let me ask you another very important area of problem.
Restructuring.
I have no doubt in my mind that this particular issue or problem, we have a lot to do with restructuring, and it also brings us to area of people who say we are marginalized, because like I said, we can now see that most of the arguments you advanced has to do with development of this area. But then is it right to say corruption could be also part of the problem, that money that are earmarked for development, they never get there, and when even if some of them get there, the roads we are talking about will be started, but
Never done.
quarter a mile developed, you know, it will abandon, and the people that get the contract will have absconded away, and nothing will happen. So do you think really, do you think corruption is also part of the problem facing Nigeria?
You see, I think we are very unlucky in that nation.
How? What do you mean? Nigeria is a beautiful place, lovely.
When I say we are unlucky, it's because we didn't have the right person to rule us.
What kind of right person are you talking about?
I will explain to you. Nigeria could have been one of the best in Africa.
Nigeria is still the best country.
It's true. We know we are very complex because of our diversity, which those who fought for our independence have been managing up till now. I'm referring to Ahmadu Bello, Azikiwe, and Awolowo, whom we know are the front runner of that nation, Nigeria. It's so they derail from what those people laid down. The people now, and what's the cause of it? The discovery of the oil. He made everybody to say, okay, that is where money is now. They divert what we rely on before, even before our independence and after our independence, we abandoned everything.
Like what are those things we abandoned?
The Western region depended mainly agriculture and cocoa products. The Eastern state relied on agriculture and then coal production. Because I remember in 1983 when there was trouble here, Britain referred to Nigeria, they ordered coal from us.
Instead of going to Newcastle?
Yes, even because they have problem with their coal mining industry here, which they use to generate their electricity, power, and this and that. So instead of leaving the country in blackout, they divert their attention to anywhere they could get coal to generate their this thing. Now we abandon those. The pyramid, granite pyramid in the north, we know they are perishable goods, were abandoned. So everybody now is after oil. Now this thing, and that time there were each region, when we are in region, western region, northern region, and southeast, eastern region, this is our main income that make that country regionally developed. Now, this was what Chief Abape Mawolo used to develop Western region. It was this that he used to promote.
Is that where he got all the finance and
all the finance? Now, that is when we were under the arranged for the self-determination that time. Each of them have we have our flag, we have our this thing, but it was very okay until the military came in, push them aside, and then create something else that we are nursing now. The foundation that was there, even though during the amalgamation in 1914, we have the opportunity when we had our independence to sit down and restructure that side. Now, when you refer to restructuring, what do you want to restructure now? You want to restructure our social activities? We want to restructure how we behave. I don't believe restructuring has been fought by these people. Or they are not asking for restructuring anyway. They were asking for self-determination. They want to secede, which is being done in a very wrong way.
Where are you talking? Who are you talking? Which part of is
the southeast?
Okay.
Being led by Nnamdi Kanu, because that is their point of call, saying that they want to go, we should let us go, leave us alone. Because they believe the oil that is being used, the main source of our income in Nigeria is from that area, and they are not using it to develop them. To develop them, the federal government and their state government is the responsibility there. And if, as you rightly said, you say, I use the Lagos state as an example. You say, do I know whether they follow it up, or do they make noise about it, the creation of the additional council? Where they should follow it up, they did not go there. And now they want to they are agitating to secede on a wrong footing. So all these things, restructuring has a very, very large tentacles.
So is all this got to do with corruption?
Which one? The corruption there, because corruption is a disease.
How?
In Nigeria.
But corruption is...
It's everywhere, but it's being played openly because nobody to question me. Now the government here now is trying to caution and make sure it doesn't happen, because it's the main source of underdeveloped areas. Because I was referring to the allocation meant for each zones that is being allocated to them and doesn't reach where it should reach. They did not use it for the purpose. It ends up in some politician's pocket.
But how is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know the loophole that is there that is making them. I've never been a councillor, so I won't know.
But Prince,
why
you're talking
possible?
like you feel corruption. How do you feel corruption? How do you determine there's corruption here? That corruption is in Kurudu, or corruption is in somewhere in Kano. How do you feel it? How do you tell your children that this is corruption?
Every year, the government released so many funds.
Yeah.
They allocate, okay, this is for this project, this is for education, this is for health, this is for road, this is for electricity. Do we have them?
Well,
all those money that were allocated, where do they end up? If it is not corruption that is really affecting every aspect of Nigeria, that is the area, the corruption. Because if the money ends up somewhere, if it is used for the purpose, we know that it's being used.
The question, what I'm trying to say, because it's convenient for everybody, for all of us to say, corruption. How the people we tend to say they steal our money. How did they get the money? How did the money get to their wallet? How did the money get to their pocket?
When you have a minister,
yes,
in charge of electricity,
yes,
works,
yes,
there must be money allocated there.
Yes.
Somebody must be responsible for the money that is being allocated to that area. Once it is been divided or diverted to that area, and what the purpose for which it was diverted was made up does not take off, and another year is coming on, you know, that money ends up somewhere.
To be honest with you, I don't understand. I still want you to tell our viewers how this money you are talking about, this corruption money you are talking about, that the money is diverted. How did it get diverted? How is the diversion done? How did the money end up in the Minister of Works or Minister of Housing
or Petroleum?
How did the money get to their pocket?
Okay. For instance, everybody in Nigeria now will refer to the scenario whereby Petroleum Minister, Alice Madueke, former one. Now, when we export our crude oil,
yes,
and there is no record of that crude oil leaving our port to another destination, you could only see that our crude oil left Nigeria.
Yes.
Ends up somewhere. There must be a return for those oil that went out. Well, and the money does not reflect in our the account.
Then I must also push you further.
Yeah.
It looks difficult for me to understand. If you say oil is taken, or oil is loaded into 100 boats, but the amount of oil that are loaded is in millions of barrels, and then the total amount of money expected from these sales is $200 million. Where, at what point in time is the money that Nigeria is expecting get to ABCD pockets? At what point?
It should come back to our ports from the port of sales. This money, these products left our nation,
yeah,
to another destination.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we see. When you don't see the return, you see that it ends up there and nothing came back to reflect. You must know that there's something missing along that area. You cannot just buy, you can't go to a market to buy something for a sale, for a production, and then you don't see the return of that. Like you are doing, let me say you are doing washing up liquid. You bought the material, you prepare it, then it's being sold to the market, then there's no money. There must be somebody in charge of that sales.
Yeah,
who did not return that money.
Yes, Prince. Are you saying to me, you are saying to me that we know that X amount of barrels of oil have been sold to countries that are customers, and are you saying there is an instruction from somebody somewhere somehow asking them not to pay? They've taken the oil, but you are the buyers, but do not pay money back to Nigeria. Put the money in my account. Is that what you are saying?
Yes. I will use the example. I will use the example of Indian government. India. When this government came on, they reported the activities and actions of Alison Madueke, that she directed them not to pay the money into the proper account, and said this is where the money should go.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. If that's a government, it's not an individual saying that. It's a government.
That the money should not be paid
into a social account. This is the account it should go to. Nobody pressed them to voice it out, but they said it. I'm not part of the people running that organization, but that's what we had. That is serious corruption. Like what is happening now, whereby the group managing director of NNPC, the 25 million, billion,
25 million or 28
billion,
26 billion.
It's 25 billion
dollars or naira.
Dollars. Now, since the minister in between, that is minister of state, does not know anything about it. So, if eventually he did not say anything, they may think he partake in the sharing of that money. Even though that GMD exceeded his own power of authority, and according to the indices they gave, to sell it out, the selling out of this from the central bank, they said it's about 1 point something per cent that they gain out of it, but they sold it at about 3.8.
Well,
so that difference
again, I want to go back to your suggestion that the president should come out to tell the whole world, Nigerians especially, where he stands and what he's going to do about all these allegations from left, right, and center, and so on and so on. And I just hope, I want to join all the millions of Nigerians with the hope that the president, who has a very high moral reputation, do what he needs to do.
Yes. Let me put some point in there. I know we are running out of time.
Yeah, we're running out of time. But let me quickly, just 1 minute quickly. What do you think about education? Do you think, how important is education to a nation like Nigeria? Just 1 minute, please.
It's a good thing you brought that out. When I came to this country, in 1981, I came across a lady, a Jamaican here, that was born here. The moment she realized I'm from Nigeria, she said, "Oh, you're from that beautiful country." This was in Dalston.
Dalston, yeah.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, I love that country. I'm going for my university education there. I've been given admission." That's the pride of Nigerian education that time. It's no more there now. Our education has go zero level.
Wow. Well,
zero level.
Okay.
And that's where the private institution comes in. The government schools are now struggling.
Very unfortunate. One more question that I also quickly want you, as an advice. Will you advise foreign investment? And when you say foreign investment, just again within 1 minute, what kind of investment do you think people should go to Nigeria to do?
There's a lot of investment that could be carried out in Nigeria. Nigeria is a very potential market even for all Africa. We've seen what the mobile phone investment have done to Nigeria to improve Nigeria. There are other investments like housing, whereby private investment should get up to and improve that country. There are other electrical, the internet and everything. So many like that.
Yes, and I'm sure the same thing can be said of technology.
Technology, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Nigeria has brains that can develop. Latest everything that we need in technology.
Of course.
Well, I because of time is usually